Chapter 14. Naturally, the girls were a bit miffed, and their mood hadn't improved any when Pete popped out from behind the bushes and yelled, "Hey, girls, found those brains yet?" They stormed off into their tent with clenched fists, muttering darkly. That made it easy for Pete and me to stroll out into the clearing and get Snowball and Poopsie. We took them back to Bullfrog Lagoon and set them loose. They'd done a good job, and we were a little sad to part with them. "Adios, partners," said Pete fondly, giving them a big wave. "Huevos rancheros." "Huevos rancheros," I said. "Pete, that's a type of eggs." "Oh, I thought it meant good luck." After we left Bullfrog Lagoon, we took the rest of the day off. We declared a holiday. The first thing we did was go back to Hidden Valley and roast some marshmallows. It seemed like the perfect way to celebrate, roasting marshmallows in the middle of the day. After that, we went swimming, floating on our backs, grinning up at the sky. Then we lounged around a while, chuckling a lot. Finally, we got out Cornelius's book, The Buddha Bleeds at Midnight, and started reading it out loud. It was great. By the end of chapter 4, the detective, Max Malone, really has his hands full. He's only been on the case for 3 hours, and already he's found out plenty, like that the parrot knew, but the parrot wouldn't talk, and that the chief of police had a theory, but the chief of police was missing, and that the computer had the answer, but the computer had self-destructed. We would have kept reading right on through to the end, but it started getting late, and we had to fix dinner. All in all, it had been a terrific day. There was only one thing that kept sort of bothering me. It was really nothing. I don't even know why I was thinking about it. It was ridiculous. But for some reason, I just kept wondering what Jill had meant as she was unloading their canoe when she said, "I like brown eyes. I think they're cute." Whose brown eyes? Couldn't have been Pete's. He has gray eyes. I have brown eyes, but then a lot of other people do too. Of course, Jill and Sonny also had said something about a raccoon they had seen along the shore, and raccoons probably have brown eyes. Yeah, that was probably it, I decided. She was probably talking about the raccoon. That was chapter 14. We're going to go ahead and do 15 because that was short. A shooting star burned across the night sky all the way from the constellation Perseus to the constellation Pegasus. 12, said Cornelius. He looked at the luminous digits on his watch. That's 12 in 10 minutes. It was late that night, and Cornelius, Pete, and I were up on Cornelius's moon viewing platform, watching the Perseid meteor shower. The platform was a perfect place for stargazing. It was high in a tree, but sturdily built, with wood braces underneath. You climbed up through a trapdoor into a simple round platform about 6 feet across with a low railing around it. Cornelius had built it facing out toward the lake, so you had a really open view of the sky. "There's another one," said Pete. 13, said Cornelius. Cornelius hadn't known anything about meteor showers or shooting stars. He said he had noticed that there were a lot of shooting stars the last couple nights, but he hadn't known why. He said he didn't even really know what a shooting star was. Of course, I didn't know all that much myself, but I told him what I knew. I told him that the scientific name for a shooting star is a meteor, and that it's a streak of light caused by a small particle, usually no larger than a grain of sand, striking the Earth's atmosphere and burning up. Several times a year, the Earth passes through swarms of particles, which are usually the remains of a comet, and then you get a meteor shower. Most people think the Perseid meteor shower is the best one of the year. It has its peak on August 11th, and the best time to watch it is after midnight. You can see about 1 meteor a minute. I had a former student that used to go watch the Perseid meteor shower up in Auburn, and they would just pull over somewhere on the side of the road, and it was just so dark there because there's no city lights, and they would watch the same meteor shower. So kind of cool. For a long time, we watched the meteor shower sitting cross-legged on the platform, facing north over the lake toward the constellation Perseus. We were higher than I had ever been in a tree before, and it almost felt like we were on a magic carpet. As we watched, we talked about astronomy. Cornelius must have asked me 100 questions about everything from cosmic rays to quasars. I'm no expert, of course, but since astronomy is sort of a hobby of mine, I was able to answer a lot of them. Cornelius was interested in everything, but what really got him was when I pointed out the great galaxy in Andromeda. 200 billion stars? He said. That little fuzzy thing has 200 billion stars in it? It is pretty hard to believe. I mean, it's just this hazy little blotch of light that hardly looks any bigger than a star, and it's much fainter than most stars. In fact, a lot of people can't even see it without binoculars or a telescope. But that tiny fuzzy spot is actually an entire galaxy of stars. It only looks small because it's so far away. Sorry, lost my place. There it is. 2 million light years away, farther away than anything else you can see with the naked eye. It's a spiral galaxy, I added, just like ours. Cornelius borrowed my binoculars and took a closer look. It does sort of look oval-shaped, he said, sounding amazed. He studied it for a while. And then he passed the binoculars to Pete. 200 billion stars, he repeated. Cornelius was overcome. Just think, he burst out, his voice full of wonder. Just think of all the planets that must be revolving around the stars within the tiny speck of light. Hi, Romo. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. It's springtime. All the worlds will never know. All the extraordinary life forms will never see. All the fantastic thoughts being thought. And strange and alien civilizations. He paused and then he added emotionally, I don't mind telling you, it fills me with awe and humility. Cornelius fell silent, gazing up toward Andromeda. I was pretty overcome myself. There is nothing, I thought, as another shooting star streaked across the sky, so uplifting as contemplating the night sky, so awe-inspiring, so... Suddenly, Pete broke the silence. Say, did either of you guys see The Slime from Outer Space? He wanted to know. It was this real neat movie about purple gunky stuff from outer space that tries to take over the world. Boy, yuck, was it great. I rolled my eyes. How could Pete bring up some old movie about a bunch of purple gunk at a time like this? I mean, we were on a moon viewing platform. A place for quiet contemplation, a place to reflect upon the larger question of life, upon mankind's role in the universe, for instance, upon the mystery of life itself, for instance. It was embarrassing. Purple gunk? I mean, what was Cornelius going to think? He was probably going to order us right off his platform. Cornelius cleared his throat. You bet, he said eagerly. I've seen it 6 times. Wow, what a movie. Remember when the purple slime came oozing out of the sewer system and started up the Empire State Building, floor by floor? Ugh, it was repulsive. Remember that slimy slurping sound it made when it glopped all over the coffee machines and started eating them? Thought I was going to be sick. Wow. When was the last time you saw it? I couldn't believe it. Cornelius, too. About a month ago, on the Late Movie, said Pete. It's one of the best movies I've ever seen. Remember when the Air Force came and the purple slime was trying to decide what to do, and its huge brain was just kind of sitting there quivering like some kind of purple-black jelly, only more disgusting? Yeah, said Cornelius. And then remember how it decided to retreat, so it dribbled out all the windows and down the sides of the whole building and then back into the sewer? And that's when it ate all those rats. Remember that pile of rat skeletons? Oh, yeah, gross, said Cornelius. But Pete, I think that came before, didn't it? I think the slime ate the rats before it attacked the Empire State Building. No, said Pete, shaking his head. I think it was after, wasn't it? I don't know. It seems to me it was before. I'm pretty sure it was after. No, really, I think it was before. I still think it was after. The time had come for me to speak. After all, enough was enough. I couldn't help it. I just had to say something. I am almost positive, I told them, that it was before. Oh, said Pete and Cornelius together. Yeah, I said. See, the purple slime ate the rats right after it ate the police car and just before it tried to eat Professor Hendrick and his girlfriend Trixie. Remember, I was just finishing. Quiet. I'm taping. Sorry. It was just finishing off the rats when it saw the professor and Trixie, and then it chased them and escaped up through the manhole. And that's when the purple slime came up after them and saw the Empire State Building. That's right. Hopefully it's still going. That's right, said Pete. Sure, now I remember. It sort of lunged at Trixie as she was climbing out of the sewer and almost got her. Yeah, I said, shuddering. It got her shoe and then it sucked it right off her foot. What do you think about the beginning? Cornelius asked. Wasn't that great? When Trixie was in her kitchen all alone and the purple slime came bubbling up out of the sink and she had her back turned and it started oozing toward her across the kitchen counter and that's the end of that chapter, and we will do 16 next. Sorry for the interruptions.